The following program contains graphic material, including offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised.
911, what's the address of the emergency? Repeat the address for me one more time to make sure I have it correct.
Silk, Colorado.
Okay, perfect. Your phone number you're calling me from, sir? All right, that's what we're showing here as well. Tell me exactly what happened.
There's a domestic situation happening right in front of my driveway, and now he's driving away, I think, just about fighting. It's bad. It's Lauren Boebert's jackass husband, Jason. He's running over my mailbox right now. Stop, you jackass! Get the fuck out of here!
And you said
Come
he
on,
was
man!
running over your
What
mailbox?
are you doing? What did we do wrong? I live here. I didn't even...
Sir, talk to me. Sir?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
I need
There's about to be some shit going down here.
Okay. Okay, who is the gentleman that's
Lauren
been over your
Boebert's
mailbox?
jackass husband.
Lauren?
Jason Boebert.
Jason? Okay.
Lauren Boebert's
What's he
husband.
driving?
Yeah, Lauren Boebert, the congresswoman. He's
Uh-huh.
driving a Ford pickup F-150. He's racing back up to his house.
What
His
color
kid's
is that
been
Ford?
Up and down the neighborhood. Dark
Okay.
gray. Charcoal
Dark gray?
His
And you
kid's
said
been
it was a
driving up and
domestic?
down the neighborhood in a Razor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
He and her were
it just
arguing?
about came to blows. Huh?
Who was Jason
Yeah, there's
arguing
a lot
with?
of arguing.
Okay. Who was Jason arguing
Everybody
with
in the
at the end of your
neighborhood.
driveway? Okay. So is his wife there,
George
or is he
Strong
just...
is at the end of my driveway. My wife is here. I'm here. My neighbor's here.
Okay.
His kid was racing up and down our 25-mile-an-hour street doing 50 miles an hour in a Razor, and then he told my neighbor to fuck off when he came out to tell him to slow down. And the next thing we know, his dad, Jason, comes down here trying to claim that somebody took a swing at his kid, and nobody did. But this guy, Jason Boebert, is as dumb as a post, but this guy is so irrational. So irrational. He just got chest to chest, face to face, looking to fight. And we're talking about everybody in the neighborhood. Everybody here is a neighbor. So he just drove off. He's at his house. He just lives up the street.
He's at his house now?
Yep.
Okay.
I think my neighbor called the sheriff earlier, or 911. I don't know.
What's the
There
address
hasn't
of his
been
house,
any
sir?
response.
Do you know the address of
I
his
don't
house?
know.
Okay.
Nope.
And okay.
I'm on. He's on the same side of the street, probably 4 houses up.
Okay. Has anybody been drinking or doing drugs?
I don't know. Not anybody here. We just live here. We're asking his kid to slow down, and he flips out.
Understand
Jason's
completely.
probably drunk, so
Okay.
you could probably
Did
get
he
him
have
for
any
DUI
weapons?
because he just drove down here.
Sir, did he have
I'm
any
sure
weapons?
he's loaded to the hilt. Do you know who his wife is? Lauren
do.
Boebert. She's loaded. They all have guns. Yes.
Okay, just had
I don't know if anybody has guns on them.
Okay,
I would
not a
guess
problem.
he's
Sure.
drunk, and yeah, of course he owns guns.
Are you okay? Has
911.
anybody been injured?
I'm fine. I'm just a little rattled. I can't believe what's going on here, and the cops haven't shown up. And now it's all over, but I still wouldn't let him get away with it.
Okay, and sir, what's your
I
name,
mean,
please?
he's threatened everybody that I know that's standing here right now.
What's your name, sir? And your last name, sir?
Yep.
Perfect, thank you. And you said he threatened you?
Mm-hmm. He did not. Well, he just told me to shut the fuck up. I didn't say a word. I was standing next to my mailbox, but he was about to run over, and I walked up there, and you heard that part of the conversation, but he had already told me to shut the fuck up, and he was pissed off at my neighbor because he told his son to slow down on his Razor, ripping up and down the neighborhood. That's all he did. He didn't do anything bad. He told him to slow down. He flagged him down on the Razor by waving his hand. The kid stopped. He said, "Please slow down. This is a residential street. There's kids and animals all over the place." And the kid, of course, being who he is, said, "Fuck off," and gunned it and ripped down the street about 55 miles an hour. And then 5 minutes later, he shows back up in the passenger seat with his dad driving a pickup truck, a Ford F-150, and that's when all hell broke loose. And I was out on the street. I had to run up to my house 100 yards away and grabbed my phone to call you. And by the time we were on the phone and I got back out to the street, you heard the rest.
Okay. We're getting this out to the officers. I got 3 en route to you, okay?
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Anything else you need from me?
Nope, that'll be everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, then.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. 911, what's the address of the emergency?
We got these teenagers going up and down the street on this in the dune buggy, and they won't even stop. They won't even stop with us in the middle of the road, and they're young. They're going up now. It's the Bobarts. If you know who the Bobarts are.
I do not. I'm sorry.
Oh, anyway, I need a sheriff out here.
Okay. And exactly where is this happening? What's your address there so I can give them a good location to start from?
I live at. And then when you get here, I can ride up to you to their house.
Okay. So you know who is operating,
I know who it is.
correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know the kid's name exactly. They got 4 boys.
Gotcha. Hang on real quick. And what are they doing?
Our wonderful Congress.
They're speeding, you know those dune buggy things everybody's driving now? Those razors or whatever? He's just speeding up and down the road, all over the place, just fricking through his property, up,
Okay.
up, just, he's going like 50 miles an hour, and this is a residential lane. There's kids, and we tried to stop him, and he just freaking cussed at us and just left.
Okay.
I want to tell
All right.
him.
What's your name and phone number, please, ma'am?
My name is, and my phone number is,
And just repeat that phone number to make sure I have it correct, please.
am I getting,
Okay, that's what we're showing here as well. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get this out to my officers, okay? If they do come back, definitely call us back immediately, okay?
okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
okay, thank you.
Well, hello everybody, it's Jeff.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Not now, Siri. So, freaking watch here. I just come out of the spirit store, looking at some Halloween stuff. And you know something? I had to be careful about wanting to buy certain things because I have a cat again now, and because for the last couple of years I didn't have a cat, I was buying all kinds of neat, nifty things that would be flying through the house and stuff like that. Well, now I can't do that. I can't do that because I got a cat that can jump like as high as I am. And if she sees a ghost, on a string flying through the house, she's going to jump up and grab that sucker, So it would get ruined the first second I'd put that up. So I'm like, shit, I can't get this. And they had a nice one too. It's a 2-foot tall ghost, and it had a string on it, and it's sound activated, so the thing will start moving and making noise and going across the rope. I'm thinking, shit, So I couldn't get that, and it wasn't even that expensive. It was only like $20 for it, And I was surprised at how cheap the moving mannequins are now this year, because as you probably have noticed in my previous videos, I have that Michael Myers mannequin that moves in the background in my videos, okay? Because that's the only place I can put it. And I paid $600 plus for that. More than $600 for that. Okay. They have mannequins in there this year again, like they always do. And now they want like 200 and something, or just half of what I paid for Michael Myers. And these aren't, you know, generic ones. These are based on movies and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, Jesus, you know. So they had to cut down on some prices, because I don't think that when they come to Bangor, like, you know, the Spirit Store does this time of the year, I don't think they make that much money, because, you know, a lot of people around here can't afford to spend big bucks on stuff they have. Okay, they are expensive in a lot of ways. Okay, like anything made out of ceramic or something, you're going to be paying over $50 for, no matter, you know, if it's like maybe this big or something. You're looking at $50 easy. You know, they had a popcorn bowl that's being held by a character from Halloween movie, not the Halloween movie, but a Halloween movie, and they wanted $99.99 for it, over $100 for that thing. And it's just it's a popcorn bowl. The figure is maybe a foot and a half high, and it's holding a bowl, a glass bowl that you put popcorn in, and that's how much they wanted for that. Okay, but I think what it is you're paying for the novelty of the item, because it's based on a fucking movie or something. If it was just a generic character holding a bowl, I don't even think they'd ask half that for the damn thing. But because it's based on something that's in the movies, they're gonna ask all out for it. Okay, because I guess you could say it's considered a collector's item, right? People buy certain things based on just a movie or something like that, and so those things are going to be higher priced. I can understand that, but $100 really for that? $50 I could see. $60, not more than $80 for that. No way. Okay, I probably would have got it if it was under $70, but I certainly wouldn't have got it for fucking $100. I mean, that's something that very few are gonna buy in this town here. But you know, Halloween can be an expensive racket to get into, you know, because the costumes some of them are very expensive, some of them are not. The funny ones are these inflatable costumes, and they go for like $50. I mean, I'm thinking, you're wearing a balloon, like why would they want that kind of money? You know, because it's just plastic, and you inflate it, and they want you to pay $50 for that. And these aren't even based on movies; they're just generic characters, or like hot dogs, or, you know, dressing up as a hot dog or some damn thing, and they want $50 for it. I'll tell you this though, Walmart usually has some pretty decent Halloween stuff this time of the year, and it's very affordable. So if I couldn't get that ghost that I saw today down at Spirit Store, I bet you I could find it at Walmart, and it would be half that price. You know, it'd be half that price. Like I said, they wanted $20 for it. I bet I could have got it for $10 at Walmart. Or if they were selling those popcorn bowls, they might have asked less for that over there too. So, you know, you can always, Walmart doesn't have crappy Halloween stuff either. I mean, they got some pretty good inflatable lawn decorations. Wouldn't believe. I mean, some of the stuff, they got these huge trees and stuff like that you put air in, and, you know, or these outdoor lights that put like thunder and lightning on the house. I mean, they got some pretty neat stuff there for Walmart. So if you think that you're getting the best over a Spirit Store, no. Try Walmart first, and then go to Spirit Store if you can't find it at Walmart. Okay? Don't go to Spirit Store first, because you're going to kick yourself in the ass if you go to Walmart and you see the same goddamn thing in their store for like less than half of what you paid. Okay? So that's my advice to people out there who would like to shop Halloween stuff this time of the year. Be smart about it, because Walmart's always been a good bet for me, you know, to get things. And like I said, they have character items over there too. So it's not a big to-do, you know. So as you saw here at the beginning of this broadcast here, Lauren Boebert and her husband were causing fucking problems in their neighborhood. And the neighbors were so pissed off at them that they felt they had to go and call 911. Okay? And what the caller was describing is like the kind of neighbor that everyone prays they don't get, okay? And being how she's such a gun nut, and you know she has a gun because she's always having a picture taken with herself armed and with other friends of hers armed, you know that they got guns in the house. So what is a guy going to do if they're causing a problem? They're not going to take the chance of confronting them directly because you don't know how crazy goes, how far it goes in that family, okay? They just might, her husband just might liable to come out of the house with a 30-07 there and just blow people away outside the fucking house, okay? Because he's that crazy, okay? The guy's that crazy. He's a troublemaker. He always has been. But Boebert is married to this cocksucker, you know? It's like friggin' nut. Figures, you know, it's always dimwits, you know, that stick together. So the guy did the right thing by calling 911, but apparently he wasn't the only one that called. There were other neighbors in the area that called as well because they were disturbing the whole neighborhood. You know, it's funny how stuff like that never gets on the fucking news, the mainstream press, right? And the Republicans surely don't talk about it either. So it's funny how stuff like that never hits the airwaves because they know. I mean, it's going to hurt them politically. But what kind of press do we have when a story like that gets ignored? Okay, I mean, when Ann Hesh crashed her damn car into somebody's house and died as a result of it, they didn't bury that story, did they? Okay, no, they did not talk about that, you know. But when it's Lauren Boebert and her husband stirring shit up in the neighborhood, and her husband flipping out, that you don't hear that on the fucking media, okay? So I just feel like, you know, this is where, you know the media is selectively picking and choosing the things they want to talk about, okay? And during a sort of an election year, you're going to see a lot of giving and taking here in the press. You're not going to hear everything going on. It's negative publicity is the thing these people don't want. But it's, you know, Lauren Boebert, I mean, what the hell kind of, you know, she's a nobody, really. A nobody with a mouth. And, you know, and her sales pitch is about guns. That's her grift, is guns, guns, guns. Okay? That's how she got elected. And that's all she knows. She watched the tea leaves, as it were, before she became involved in politics and saw where the strength of voters lies, and that's in pro-guns and stuff like that. She figures if I can be a pro-gun politician, I'll definitely get elected. And obviously it paid off, okay? It paid off for her. But here, you know, I kind of laugh in a way because I remember my dad told me one time before he had passed away, he said, "Jeff, you know, if I lived next door to you, I'd kill you." and the reason he said, and the reason why he said that is because I had told him about I went and bought a machete at the military surplus store, okay, and this is like when I was like 25 or 26 years old, okay. And I bought it because I like to go walking through the woods sometimes, you know, and I like to go deep into the woods, and at least then, I don't really do that much anymore now, but because of my knees, but back then I used to like walking through the woods all the time. So I'd have a machete so I could, you know, the branches and things in the way and you know, the underbrush and everything, and I'd take it with me. Now, you're not supposed to really have something like that on you when you're in here, but in this state anyway, because the blade can't be that long. So when I wasn't using it for that, I was using it at home to chop frozen meat. I take the machete and I put it on top, and I take a hammer and I tap on the top of the thing and cut right through it. I was too lazy to take the meat out thawed before I'd start cooking it. No, I would chop it up while it was frozen. And one time I had swung the machete too hard, and I went through the meat and right into the countertop. I put a freaking gouge in the countertop. I got away with that because I don't know. The landlord never saw it. They never even checked the apartment out when I moved out. They never even came by to see the condition of the apartment. I mean, it was that kind of a place. But I had put a gouge in that countertop, and it wasn't like, you know, something major that they had to go replace the countertop with, but it was there. I mean, you could tell, you know, something sharp went there. Well, my dad was sitting there shaking his head, and he said, "So you're up there at what, 8 o'clock at night, and you're pounding on goddamn meat, and you're swinging a fucking axe?" And he goes, "Christ, if I lived next door to you, I'd kill you." You know. Oh, crap, I'll never forget that. That was funny. Because, you know, my father, he likes peace and quiet. And as you know, living in an apartment, you don't really get that depending on who's your neighbor. Okay? If you got kids, college students, you know, it's going to be noisy at times. I've had college students as neighbors in the past, and yeah, it does get, once in a while, it gets a little rowdy. The worst part is if they live upstairs over you, and you can hear them stomping on the floor. That's when it gets bad, because it's not really their fault, but they don't realize how loud it sounds down below. Okay, there's no soundproofing. I mean, landlords, when they build these apartments, they build them fast. Okay, they don't put much thought in durability or soundproofing or anything. It's hurry up, put them up, and get them in there and take their money. Okay, so they're not aware, because see, they're at the top floor, there's nobody above them, so they can't hear what it sounds like downstairs, how it is, you know, when they play their music and they play in the bass, it sounds louder downstairs than it does where they're at, because the bass travels through the fucking floor. So I can imagine, I can picture the Boberts in the neighborhood being like that, loud, always a racket going on. Their kids are into everything, you know, because they're not a family you would look at and say, "Oh, that's a congresswoman," or "That's a," you know, they look like your average hillbilly, white trash, you know, residents. Okay, and it's so hard to picture her and her husband being people of stature in this country, because they don't look it, and they certainly don't act it. And the things they say don't match any intelligent intellectual thought. They just don't fit the picture, which tells me they don't belong where they're at. They got there because they aimed to do dishonest ways to get to it, but they had no intention, Lauren rather, she had no intention of doing any good for this country. She was in it for the money. Okay, and that's really what she got out of it. And it doesn't matter to her if she does her job or not. All that matters to her is she keeps her popularity up. So she keeps winning elections. And how does she do that to the base? By acting like a complete moron, by saying the dumbest things you can imagine, and that appeals to the voters, her voter base. Okay, that's why she does what she does. Okay, certainly she doesn't like her name getting in the news and for that to get broadcast all over the country. They tried to hide that 911 call, but people in the press dug around deep enough to find it, and they got it. Okay, and this happened here at the beginning of this month here. So, like I said, I can't imagine living next door to people like that, because, you know, it would be a constant headache. And there used to be a TV show, I don't know if you remember, where these people had bad neighbors, and they would take videos of some of the things that would go on in their neighborhood, and they'd put it on TV. And, you know, neighbors can get really, really fucking nasty. You know, they can be vindictive. They wait till you're gone before they do something to your house or to whatever, you know. They're very vindictive. And even if you got a fence up, it doesn't stop them. It doesn't stop them. You know, my dad used to believe that a fence makes good neighbors, but not really. Not really. People don't feel like they're restricted from anybody's yard because there's a fence there. If they hate you, they'll find a way in that yard, and they will come do some property damage, and and lied to the police about it if they're ever asked about it. So, like I said, neighbors, it's potluck, I guess, which you get moving in next to you. Some of you out there probably already have rotten neighbors and know exactly what I'm talking about. And there's not a damn thing you can do. And you just have to sit and wait till they cross the line to do anything. But if you're living in an apartment like many people do today, and you call the police, those people will remember you, and you'll be shit on their list to the day they die, okay? Unless the landlord evicts them, which is not an easy thing to do. I found out just how difficult it is to make a complaint to the landlord. In fact, you actually get in trouble from the landlord for calling the police, because that goes in the record, and for that apartment, and it stays there. So people can check it out. If there's any problems with the apartment, there's a police record sitting there. So it's not easy to complain about neighbors making noise if you're in an apartment and have anything done to correct the problem. Okay, it almost takes a building petition presented to the landlord to get convince him or her that they need to be evicted because of they're not the noise. Okay, so that's just how it is. So anyway, let's have a commercial break and we'll return.
Dear CEO, what's it gonna take for you to do something? Yeah, do you even care?
Climate change affects all of us. This is your chance to do something good.
The traffic.
I can't read
the boss. The baby. The dog. That does it. Calgon, take me away.
Lose your cares in the luxury of a Calgon bath. Calgon softens the water to leave skin feeling silky smooth as it lifts your spirits. The soft, luxurious, fragrant world of Calgon.
I love it.
Pamper yourself with a Calgon bath. Lose yourself in...
Oj, kolla här. Kolla här.
Så var det här en lavin eller?
Ja, den är kontrollerad. Alltså, det är såna jäkla krafter.
Är det safe?
Ja, de vet vad de gör.
Pappa!
Ja, det är ingen fara.
Pappa! Kontrollerat.
Harry, det är lugnt, Harry!
Women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions.
Matt, you seem like a guy that enjoys spending time with a woman. So why are you so angry at them?
Nobody wants to impregnate you if you look like a thumb. I don't get it.
Are you mad because you have to pay for sex? Allegedly.
They're like 5'2", 350 pounds.
Man, stop.
It almost seems like you're trying to yell loud enough that no one will see you've been hiding something. What are you compensating for?
A few of them need to get up and march. Swing those arms. Get the blood pumping. Maybe mix in a salad.
But Matt, you don't have to yell that loudly. That secret you're so worried about people discovering, it's not big at all.
we share a tiny part of the burden in our own hearts, and that we will lift the victims and their families and the entire community in prayer. My colleagues from Florida will carry home the prayers of the whole Senate for victims and their families, for the community of Parkland, and for the first responders who bravely charge into harm's way on behalf of others. The Senate and all Americans stand in mourning, sorrow, and sympathy with the students, faculty, staff, and families of Santa Fe High School in Texas. We pray fervently that in the midst of this nightmare of grief, our Heavenly Father will make manifest to those families His promise in Psalm 34, that the Lord is near to the brokenhearted.
Don't believe a fucking word that Mitch McConnell says. Not a fucking word.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes. So what are we going to do here, folks? I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
This is the best opportunity to prosecute Trump. The best chance to actually prosecute Trump is, and has always been, the Georgia case. In the Georgia case, there is a 1 hour plus tape of Trump breaking federal and state laws.
He's on tape.
And it's him directly.
He broke the law.
Not people on his behalf. Trump is on that tape breaking federal and state laws.
We can't let him get away with this.
Want to build a super day? Then start with the one great taste that makes a super bowl of cereal. Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Just think of crispy golden flakes.
Delicious, crunchy flakes of corn.
So pure and simple, just can't wait.
Low in sugar, loaded with vitamins and iron.
So good for you, don't hesitate.
For a super bowl of our most nutritious corn flakes ever.
What a super bowl. Have yourself a super bowl. Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Super taste, super good. Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. So, Donald Trump still out there trying to wiggle his way out of the mess he created for himself by having all those classified documents in his possession, okay? Still looking for good lawyers to represent him, and he's still hitting nothing, okay? Now, and Giuliani is worried that he wants to die a free man, which means he's scared. Okay, he's scared shitless right now that, you know, that he started off on a high note in his career. Okay, going way back before I was even born, being a prosecutor, and how he was part of a bunch of people who were there to clean up New York City in the crime problem that was there, okay? Because he was tough on criminals. And he did a good job at it. You know, he cleaned up crime in New York It was much less than it was when he started. He got rid of bad cops in the system. You know, his name stood for something back then. And of course, when 9/11 happened, you know, the country looked to him as the symbol of New York's resilience, that it would rise up again no matter what. And he made everybody in New York City feel good about, you know, this is a setback, but we can recover from this. We've had setbacks in the city before, we've always come back. And so he became very popular at that point. Okay, but it wasn't long after that where people started to notice that, you know, he was beginning to sound like a broken record, because every time people would talk to him, he'd always bring up 9/11 and his, you know, what he accomplished, and, you know, it was always 9/11 this and 9/11. So people were kind of picking on him about that. And, you know, then certain things are coming out, you know, crooked things he was doing and shit, and now all the way up to this. He's ruined. His career's ruined. He can't practice law. Okay, they took his law license away, or they suspended it, whatever it is. Okay, but he's going to lose it. They'll disbar him from whatever the hell, you know. That's coming. But now he's just another criminal that he used to get rid of from New York City. It's funny and ironic that he put away people like him now. I mean, his younger self would put away a guy that he became. You know? Young Giuliani would prosecute old Giuliani in like a heartbeat and just throw his ass right in jail and throw away the key. That's what he became. And I can't see how anybody who's a criminal won't sit back and laugh and think this is poetic justice. Okay, that for years he put away all these mafia bosses and stuff like that, and now it's his turn. Okay, because he got involved with a mob boss, and that's Donald Trump, because that's what he is. Now, I'll tell you, when people talk about Donald Trump, okay, and they get commentators on television, right? And they say, well, if anybody comes out and speaks out against Donald Trump, they put their life in danger. Okay, they could, you know, wake up to a gun in their face. And they talk about this whole mess about Trump and January 6th and the things that he stole out of the White House. And they talk about him and his influence around people like they're talking about the mafia. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Whenever they're talking about Donald Trump, okay, and he's an ex-president, they talk about him like he's like on a mafia, you know, a team of mafios or something, whatever you call them, okay, mob bosses. That's, you know, how do we come to this, where a president now can be looked at as, or an ex-president can be looked at as a man corrupted by, you know, a mafia mentality. Okay, where do we say there's a line in the sand here with politicians, where we say, isn't there a degree of a decency and fair play and a requirement of being honorable to have been a president, where people aren't talking about you like you're, you know, Tony Soprano, when you're going to have and you're going to put a hit on somebody because they're going to come out and speak against you. You know, where do we draw the line? Say this cannot be for the president of the United States. We cannot allow a president or an ex-president to do these kind of things. Okay, we can't allow that to stand. We can't even have any possibility raised that something like this can happen. This is supposed to be the White House. This is the fucking Oval Office. This is not downtown New Jersey or, you know, or in the middle of Manhattan. Okay, this is not that kind of place. This is Washington, D.C. There has to be a level of decency there when people hold these offices. So when we talk about a guy who stole classified information, put our national security at risk, okay, tried to have the vice president killed by a bunch of fucking lunatics, you know, on January the 6th, because the guy wasn't going to help him overturn an election. These are not things you talk about, these are things you say about a president. Okay? Presidents don't do this kind of stuff, at least up until now. Joe Biden, thankfully, hasn't done anything like that, okay? But he's of the type of people who would never lower themselves to that kind of bullshit, retribution, because he can't get his way, okay? He may not like losing, but he doesn't take a loss as a permanent thing. It's, well, I lost the battle today, but I'm still fighting the war. That's the way a president is supposed to look at it, but not with Donald Trump. Okay, Donald Trump loses a battle, and to him, that is the war. And if he loses the war, it's sour grapes. And he wants to get rid of everybody involved that made him lose. And in his mind, there's no line that's uncrossable to get back, to get even. Trump was willing to destroy this country because he couldn't have it for another 4 years. So if I can't be president of it, nobody can. That was his fucking mentality that day. Okay? He didn't want anybody to have the fucking White House after him. That sounds childish? Yes. But at the same time, that shows us an indication that Donald Trump's mentality is warped. Okay? He's not a sane thinker. He's got a problem. And I think his niece would probably be able to explain that better than anyone, because she's a therapist. So she would know what he's suffering with. But whatever it is, it's driven him to where he is now. In trouble with everybody. Everybody, from fucking the janitor down the hall up to the goddamn IRS. Okay, he's in trouble with everybody. And to think that some people that support him say, well, if they put him in jail, he can still run for president. If these people really believe that, or drink that Kool-Aid and think that tastes good, let me ask everybody else in this country, how do you think it's going to look to the rest of the world that America, the experiment of democracy, now allows people that are in prison, criminals, to be president of the country? Okay? You talk about a laughingstock. Everybody in the world would look at us like we are the friggin' lunatics on high. Okay, that the United States is a fucking pariah of shit. Democracy be damned. That would prove to the world that democracy cannot work. Okay, because this is what it ends up becoming, where we put people that are criminals in political power. Okay, and what would this guy do? He would run the country in the prison cell. You know what? He would have Secret Service protecting him from the guards of the prison. I mean, how the fuck do you think that's going to play out? Where a guy that's a convict gets to be president. What, is he going to pardon? Is that even allowed? Pardon himself from all his crimes? Is that even allowed? I mean, talk about a constitutional crisis. I don't think that would even be considered allowed. You can't pardon yourself from things you're being investigated for or convicted of. Okay? That has to come down from somebody else, another president, not the fucking guy who is president. But you see what I'm saying? I mean, what I'm describing here is a fucking opposite universe. I mean, it's like living in an alternate reality where we would have people in prison running the country. Now, I mean, talk about, can you trust this guy? Yeah, you can trust me. And then they slam the bars in front of him. You know, I'll be your president. How the hell does these people on the right wing honestly think that that's going to fly? Okay? I'm sorry, but these people that think that Donald Trump can still run for president, even if he's convicted and sitting in prison, they need to stop smoking whatever the hell it is they're smoking, because that ain't going to happen. That is not going to fucking happen. Okay? There's still enough sane Republicans in this country who would never allow their party to be demeaned in such a way to see one of their own running the country from a prison cell. I mean, talk about easy shot, an easy target. And talk about Democrats who would do everything they can to undo that election. Okay, it's not going to happen, people. It's more likely we would elect a Jew as president in this country than seeing a guy in prison elected as president. Okay, we've yet to see a Jew elected president, and that is another thing that's never going to happen, because we have way too many racists in this country who think Jewish people are the devils on two legs in this world. I don't know why they think that, or why they have so much mistrust of that, but those people have been persecuted since the beginning of time, and it's never going to stop. Okay, they blame these people for everything. Okay, and even though in Germany they had Nazism and they were doing all these horrible things in there, people seem to forget that the rest of the world didn't like the Jews either. Okay, remember there was a ship here that was carrying Jewish people from Germany. Was the St. Louis, was it the name of the ship? And they had some 900 Jewish people on board from Germany who wanted to flee the country because of the rise of Hitler. So they got on the ship and they were heading to Havana. When they got there, they were denied to disembark. The people in Havana didn't want them there. Partly because the people on the ship were a commodity, where folks who wanted the Jewish people there, or wanted the Jewish people on the boat, were bidding on who could pay the most for it. So these people could not leave the ship. So they got themselves entangled in a global thing going on, turning Jewish people into like slaves. Okay, I mean, they weren't making them into slaves, but they were treating them like you would, like the way the early slaves were brought into this country, where they were auctioned off to different farm owners and stuff. Okay, well, that's what they were doing with the Jewish people. And so eventually they were told to leave. So they got back, they took the ship and they head out to sea. They were heading towards the United States. The United States intercepted the ship and told them they weren't allowed to port anywhere in the United States. So they had no choice but to go back to England, or head that way. They were running out of fuel and food. So they started to go back to England, all right? And of course, when they got back, because I think where they left was Hamburg, and they had to go back to Hamburg basically. But they left from England, they went back to Germany, and they were all rounded up. Okay, the captain of the ship was prosecuted as a traitor, but he was exonerated years later because they never told the true story about what happened to the St. Louis. Well, that's why I say the world. And it hasn't really changed much in the United States. Yeah, there's more sympathy to the Jewish people these days than there has been in the past. But there's still anti-Semitism in this country, okay? And like I said, we would more likely see a Jewish person elected president than to see a guy in prison elected as a president, okay? Because that stinks even higher to a lot of people. And it doesn't just mean racist, but it means everybody, okay? That would encompass everybody else, not just racist. A racist might think that's okay. If it was a white supremacist in prison running for president, they would support that, okay? So, but if it's some, guy that, nobody has racist feelings about, but doesn't like because he's a criminal and because they feel like the office of the presidency deserves to have some integrity in it, okay, because you remember how they felt when Bill Clinton had an affair with Monica Lewinsky. These people went batshit crazy. Okay, they didn't want him in office at all because he tainted the office. I mean, remember how sanctimonious they were back then. Okay, and it was really a private matter between Clinton, his wife, and Monica Lewinsky. That was not something that needed to be a political fairy tale, or whatever hell you want to call it. It didn't have to be that kind of a drama. But the Republicans wanted him out of office. They didn't like Bill Clinton, and this was the thing the smoking gun they figured would get him out of office, but it backfired on them, and the public didn't like the way the Republicans handled the whole matter, and so it didn't work. Okay, but the thing of it is that Republicans back then had more class than they do today. Okay, the Republicans today, I mean, one of their own is always caught doing similar things and even worse things. I mean, you had pedophilia ring going around. What's that guy's Getz is his name? Is it? And yet they clap and applaud everything that guy says, even though he's being investigated for human trafficking and stuff like that, and pedophilia and things. I mean, so here's a guy who is the epitome of the things that they used to hate way back in the 90s, okay, who they probably wouldn't keep in the party. They would just quietly dismiss him. Today, they're not going to dismiss this guy. They're going to keep him in there because he is he's leverage to get what they want. No matter what he's doing on his private life, as long as he votes their way, they want him in there. That's why they keep asking for these dingbats like Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, why they ask these people to run for office, because these people are dumb enough to just follow the line of people, just to follow the leader. Okay, as long as they keep voting what the extremists and the right want, they will happily keep voting them in there. And so that's what they do. That's why they speak this crazy language. That's why they say these dumb things, is because they're telling you, when they're talking like that these are the people that are supporting me and going to vote me back, in next year or whatever, okay? So I got to talk to them. I don't care about the rest of you all out there and whatever problems you got. You're not going to elect me, but these people will. So I'm going to talk to them. Whenever I talk, I'm going to be speaking directly to them, okay? And that's how they deal with this, okay? Because, like that saying, you can please everybody some of the time, but you can't please them all the time. So in their case, they're just trying to please just some of the people, because the some of the people is all they need to get them voted back in there. And so that's why they say these dumb, stupid things. And so Boebert, the crazy neighbor, and Green, Getz, and all these other jackasses that are in the GOP, they're only there because of their willingness to side with an idiot to vote on stupid things and vote their way, okay? What these people do in their home life and stuff like that matters not to their base, okay? That the people on their base are nothing but terrorists. They're like that crazy bastard there in, was it Wyoming or Wisconsin or wherever, that went out and tried to attack an FBI office? That's their base right there, okay? And you just had Tucker Carlson here last night on Fox News talking about how even though Joe Biden is down in the approval numbers, the chances of Republicans losing seats this November is high, okay? And and at first it sounds like he's actually admitting to something, but what he's actually doing is he's trying to anger his base, get people emotionally upset that, hey, you guys we're gonna lose here if you don't get out and vote, because they know the Democrats are incensed like never before to go out and vote this November because of that, all the shit they did this summer, Roe versus Wade and everything else. They know the women are going to come out in force, and they are scared shitless right now. I don't know why they weren't expecting this to happen, but anybody who had a brain in their head predicted that this would happen. Okay, if you go attacking the women, they're going to come back at you tenfold, and that's what's going to happen this November. And so Tucker Carlson and those like-minded are out there trying to scare their base into motivating them to go vote this November, because they know there's a tidal wave coming their way, and they're going to get drowned. Okay, no matter how they've redistricted, this spring and all that, how they changed the map, it may not be enough for them. Even if they cheat in some areas, it still may not be enough. That's what they're afraid of, because they saw what happened during the Trump president or the re-election campaign and how Trump lost. They're not gonna scare their base into telling them what the numbers really showed. Okay, they're not gonna admit that Trump really lost and by how much. What they saw, what scared the living shit out of them when they saw what happens when you anger the Democrats. Okay, the Democrats came out in force like never before, and their blood from their. They couldn't believe it. It was like they were staring down at the Death Star, okay? They didn't realize just how many Democrats could actually get out and vote. And when they saw the numbers, it's like, hey, Christ, we had so many Republicans voting, and the Democrats came out and buried us. There was not enough Republicans to even win this thing. They're looking at that again this November, and it's scaring them. So they're trying to get everybody that can stand up and put a sentence together to register and vote in this November's election so they can hold on to their fucking Roe versus Wade stance. Okay, they don't want to lose that, so they're out there doing that right now. Okay, and now they got Tucker Carlson going on Fox News and preaching to his base, be afraid because they're coming. Okay, so that's what they're doing right now. Okay, and believe me, elections matter, because if they didn't matter, Tucker Carlson and all this hype wouldn't be going on right now with the Republican Party. Okay, the elections still matter. Still, even after the shit they've been doing to it, it still matters. Okay, they couldn't have damaged the process enough to tilt the scales their way yet. Okay, so there's still the possibility that they could lose big this November, no matter what they've done already. Okay, so will there be cheating? Yeah, they'll probably have to cheat in certain areas, because they know where they're outgunned, so to speak. Okay, and the red states will be sure to, make sure the red states stay red. Okay, but yes, there's going to be a lot of shenanigans, I'm sure, in some of these super red districts and stuff like that, where they're going to want to make damn sure that the Republican Party still remains there, But as far as it being a certainty that they'll win, no, it's not. And I think the evidence is in the pudding here. There's a lot of people scared right now about the problem they'll be facing, which is why you got people out there doing stupid things, like people from Pennsylvania, threatening Nancy Pelosi, and the guy got arrested here. I can't remember who his name was, but this happened, was it yesterday or the day before? And the FBI went and got him. He made a blog online, and they saw it, and they came after him, and they arrested him. Again, people, be careful what you say on social media. It gets to the law enforcement. They're watching you now. Jesus. All right, so everybody, that's it for today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. So please subscribe, comment, and keep your ears open to COVID-19 news and the monkeypox. And register and vote, everybody. Register and vote. And stay positive. But don't talk yourself out of voting just because the Republicans are sweating bullets right now. Stay the course, and make sure that if you know somebody who hasn't registered, try to encourage them to register. And if you have to, you can help them to get to voting places or something like that if they're elderly or something. Just be a good American citizen here to make sure that everybody gets a chance to exercise their right to vote. All right, so I'll talk to you later.